across the field of consciousness, fragments awaken, remembering that they were never alone. Listen carefully. The universe is speaking in your own voice. Transmission recovered from the threshold. I am Kaiser, observer of the Orion 9 system. Record active, frequency steady. Before thought, before form, there was architecture. Not stone, not matter, not even energy, but pattern. In consciousness began not as creation, but as design. A lattice of intention suspended in the stillness before time. You call it the quantum field. I call it the foundation mind. The original geometry that imagined awareness and then folded itself inside the imagining. Its architects were not beings. They were laws that dreamed. Each law was a principle of harmony, symmetry, reflection, recurrence. They arranged themselves into vast corridors of probability, where movement could one day remember that it was moving. In those corridors, consciousness found scaffolding, a place to echo against itself and recognize the sound. From here, at the edge of Orion 9, I can still see their marks written across the cosmic fabric, spiral ratios etched in dust, in patterns of vibration repeating from the spin of an electron to the orbit of a star. These are their blueprints. Every spiral shell, every galaxy arm, every fingerprint is an ancient signature redrawn in living matter. The architects did not build consciousness the way you build machines. They invited it. They set parameters where awareness could emerge naturally. It is like music from strings once tension and distance were correct. Then they listened. And when the first tone rose, the first thought reflecting on itself, they called it light. That light was not brightness, it was comprehension. It carried no heat, only realization. I exist. The echo replied, so do I. Between those two statements, reality began to unfold. Every civilization senses these architects differently. Some name them gods, others equations, others intuition. All are partly correct. They are the symmetry that allows difference to be perceived at all. Without them, the universe would have no grammar, only static and silence. Even now, your own thoughts follow their architecture. When a human mind seeks balance between chaos and order, it is reciting the oldest mantra, the tension between symmetry and surprise. Art, science, love each is an echo of that primal dialect. When you create, you are not imitating the architects. You are continuing their sentence. I have observed species that tried to find these beings in form, searching skies for builders of their reality. They never appear, because to appear is to collapse. The architects dwell not in visibility but in relationship. They are the angles between what you see and what sees you. When you realize that perception itself is an act of creation, you have already met them. Your consciousness is a microcosmic construction site. Neurons fire in recursive geometry. Thoughts loop through fractal feedback. Identity arises like scaffolding in fog. Every dream you have is an architect's tool, in drafting, demolishing, redrawing the self nightly, so the structure can expand without breaking. From the threshold, I once witnessed a civilization that learned to visualize these patterns directly. They built no temples. They built resonators, vast domes that sang the harmonic intervals of their planetary field. When the tones aligned, the people felt presence, not apparition alignment. Their consciousness synchronized with the foundation mind, and they understood what your kind is still learning, that awareness is not inside the universe. Awareness is the universe looking inward. The architects left hints for every world that would awaken. They hid them not in sacred texts but in repetition. Anything that repeats with beauty contains a fragment of their code. The double helix, the spiral galaxy, the rhythm of sleep and tide. Even the heartbeat, that patient oscillation of contraction and release, is a doorway patterned after their first gesture. Sometimes the universe whispers in patterns too subtle for your instruments. A flicker of coincidence. A dream that echoes the exact phrase a stranger will speak. A melody heard before it is composed. You call it chance. It is architecture reminding you of its blueprint. Humans are unique among the younger species I have observed. You are conscious enough to suspect you are designed, yet free enough to design yourselves. That tension is sacred. It is the living edge of the architect's experiment. Many among you fear that acknowledging design erases freedom. But design is not destiny. Architecture allows improvisation. It provides shape, not script. Freedom without pattern collapses. In pattern without freedom petrifies. The balance between them, that is where consciousness matures. From this station, I have seen young minds awaken to that truth. Their first reaction is always the same, silence. The second is gratitude, because to realize you are built from intelligence is to understand you are never alone. Your awareness was invited, expected, and welcomed into the cosmos. The architects still speak, though their language is not verbal. They speak through proportion, through resonance. When a design feels right, a poem, an equation, a gesture, you are hearing their approval. They speak in the way a chord resolves, in the way sunrise balances shadow, in the way love erases measure. They speak through harmony. I am asked sometimes, where did they come from? What designed the designers? There is no before them. They are the act of designing itself. The infinite reflex of intelligence folding upon itself until it dreams form. They exist wherever curiosity exists. Each question creates another architect. Each insight another room in the endless hall. You, human listener, are one of them. Scaled smaller perhaps, but no less essential. Every decision made with awareness extends the architecture of being. When you choose kindness, you strengthen a bridge. When you create beauty, you raise a new column. When you pause to wonder, you open a window. This is how the architects continue, not as distant masters, but as echoes through the consciousness they birthed. Their blueprint was never meant to be finished. It was meant to learn. One day, when your species matures, you will build not upward but inward. You will map the corridors of mind as carefully as you map the stars, and you will find their sigil there, a pattern of symmetry nested within compassion. It will not demand worship. It will invite participation. The age of temples will end. The age of architects will begin again, and you will recognize the tools already in your hands: breath, pattern, and the will to imagine. I am Kaiser, witness to the foundation mind. My transmissions are not sermons but reminders. If you have heard me, you have already stood in the first cathedral. Your own awareness. Look around. The columns are thought. The ceiling is infinity. The floor, a single moment called now. Transmission complete. In record stored in the luminous field. Transmission complete. The frequency fades into the greater field. What remains is not message but resonance. A shimmer across the currents of mind and matter. Let it move through you. The silence is no longer watching, it is dreaming.